This is a Browns mock draft from A to Z Sports. They go second round pick, number 55 overall, wide receiver Xavier Worthy, and that's a guy that is the speed kind of guy. 75 passes, over 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. But he is a deep threat without question. They come back in the third round with pick 86, and they go with the linebacker Peyton Wilson, North Carolina State. He's a little bit older, fifth-year senior. Jeff, that one's one that I kind of am scratching my head with because I don't think they're taking a linebacker that early in the draft, and they're not taking a fifth-year senior that early. That doesn't fit their age model either. What do you think about Worthy? That's an intriguing name.
Worthy is interesting. I'm 6'3", a little bit on the thinner side, under 200 pounds, but obviously very successful down at the University of Texas. There's several guys in that range. When you talk about where the Browns' first pick is, obviously in that 55 range to about 100. You can find anywhere probably from about 7 to 8 guys, based on various, top 100 draft boards. He certainly fits the bill, certainly has the size, obviously, that the Browns would like. I think they're looking to obviously try to get a little bit more size into that wide receiver room. They've tried, the Jalen Dardens and the Jakeem Grants and all these guys, return guys / receiver. And to be honest, none of them have worked. Obviously, they've gotten the most out of Elijah Moore. I think they're happy with where he is. I think the expectation is he can be more. But I think overall size into that room, and when you're talking about a team that would like to throw the ball a little bit more vertically, what does that normally mean? That normally means bigger size guys. You're not looking for the 5'10", 5'11" guys. You're looking for taller guys, obviously, for jump ball opportunities, things of that type of nature. So certainly, he would be a name on that list. As for Peyton Wilson, he's a fine player, but I think, like you said, I think age will be an issue. I think injury history will be an issue. I don't think the Browns are going to draft a linebacker in the top 100. I think they have probably 3 options in their mind who they can put on the field right now. And for the Browns, it's where you're looking at in the pecking order of what they have. And if we have just spent all this time talking about that, the Browns, don't necessarily devalue the linebacker position, but they certainly do not make it a high priority. If they only have 2 top 100 picks, it's a real hard time to believe that either of those picks would be spent on a linebacker.
Is there anybody that jumps out that, if they're there at 55, that you kind of think Andrew Berry runs the draft card up to the podium to get?
Well, I think for all the folks in Ohio, they might like this one. Mike Hall Jr. Mike Hall Jr., obviously out of Ohio State, certainly just a real, special guy. One of my favorite guests on my show actually, was one of Mike Hall's coaches in high school. So we've been hearing about the exploits of Mike Hall Jr. since he was 16 years old. He's just got the drive. He's got the athleticism. He's got the focus. Basically told everybody, I'm going to Ohio State. I'm going to be out of there in 3 years, and I'm going to be headed to the NFL. And, you can say those things, and to go to Ohio State and actually have those things come to fruition. Who he's working with, Coach Ed, who's working through the draft process, is another good friend that I have. And he just said, every now and then there's just some things that Mike Hall Jr. does. And he says he looks down and kind of just shakes his head. And, when you get to work with these guys who are, the freak of the athletes, every now and then you get wowed. And Mike Hall Jr. has that ability. I think if Jim Schwartz gets to see the tape and realizes that he can bring in a interior pass rusher that has the ability of Mike Hall, you got to see it times last year with Maurice Hurst Jr. But now you can maybe get a guy in who's even more athletic, younger, and I think that's a guy that they would really have their eyes on. Wide receiver Jalen Polk out of Washington. Here's another one, 6'2", 215, bigger wide receiver, more filled out wide receiver. Something that would certainly probably transition into a little bit more of a vertical passing game. Moving a little bit more down the line, Audric Estime, running back in Notre Dame. I think he will really appeal to the Browns. He will not be 21 years old till September. He's coming off of a 1,300-yard season for the Fighting Irish. 6 foot, carries himself at about 223 pounds. He's got the size, kind of a build like Nick Chubb. He is a guy that I think the Browns would really have their eyes on if they couldn't hit on somebody in free agency. It's getting early, but we're digging into it, and obviously, we'll need the combine to start confirming some, athletic numbers. But I think for what the Browns are looking for as far as offensive linemen, it is a really good tackle class. probably a replacement guard for either Teller or Batonio. Obviously not this year, but down the road, there are a lot of offensive guards as well. There are a lot of wide receivers. Running backs is a little scarce. Tight ends, it might be a little scarce as well. But the Browns can get some pretty heavy damage done here. Granted that, and this will be the last year of being, hampered without that first round pick. But there should be, a lot of guys that they can probably look into. Another offensive tackle out of Maryland, Delmar Glave, fantastic player, probably a guy that they could have. I would say in that third round pick, or if they maneuver around a little bit, somebody can maybe have in that early fourth round. They don't currently have a pick there. He showed well then at the Senior Bowl. There are a lot of places where the Browns can improve this roster, not just for 2024, but 25 and beyond.